Our guest today for our conversation and also for our E-wareness campaign is David Rae, who is a financial planning guru beyond measure, but also an activist and very involved in AIDS awareness issues. David, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk the very basics first, understanding that you're not a doctor and no one's asking you to be. What is AIDS?
Well, AIDS is a disease that attacks the immune system of people. There was a period of time where it was maybe not recognized. It was called gay cancer. It was called a variety of different things, but what's now known as HIV is the disease, which then can turn into AIDS, which can be deadly if not treated, for sure.
And HIV, the I, has to do with the immune system, so it's attacking the immune system and allowing other problems to get in. Is that a fair assessment?
That's a fair assessment. Generally, people don't actually die from HIV. They die because their immune system can't fight something else. Again, not being a doctor, not giving exact, but most people, they end up getting pneumonia, which wouldn't be great for you or I, but if you aren't able to fight that, that could be a deadly disease very easily.
What treatments are available for someone who has the HIV, the virus?
Yeah. For someone who has HIV, it's gone from being pretty much a death sentence. You know, it was just a matter of time till it got you, I guess would be the most bluntly put it. Now there are a variety of treatments that really make it more of a chronic disease. I think most people are living long and happy lives with it. It's still not a disease you want to deal with. It's expensive, it's a pain in the butt, and there has quite a few side effects. But it is something that is manageable. There's a variety of pill regimens and things like that that I won't bore you with or know the details of personally, to be honest. But there are treatments for it now. And I think the big thing about treatment that people should know, it's not just about the person who has the disease. It really makes it hard to spread if you are fully treated. There seems to be research that shows that it's almost impossible to pass if someone is treated properly.
Now, the research has come a long way.
Absolutely.
Over these years. Where is the research coming from? How is the research a fully supported government, let's stamp this out situation at this point?
I really would say that would be a gross overstatement of where that's at. I mean, there is probably, would seem like large dollar amounts going towards it, but when you really compare it to what goes to, say, Ebola at one hospital, we probably are spending way less than should be going to fight this disease. It is something that could be eradicated, like measles if kids would vaccinate their children, or other things that have been eradicated, like polio. It could be eradicated with the proper funding and potentially proper treatment and research. There's got to be a cure out there somewhere. I have no idea when that would be found or where we're at in that process, but people are working on finding a cure, or at least a vaccine or things like that to prevent this further spread.
Now, aside from a vaccine, what prevention options, what prevention methods are available from avoiding it in the first place, or also avoiding the spread and continuing to live a life if you've contracted it?
I think a huge thing is just awareness and getting tested. I think there's a huge amount of people who have no idea they have it. I think statistics have shown something like 20 to 30% of people that have HIV have no idea they have it. So, you know, that you think you trust that person you're maybe hanging out with, they say, oh, I don't have it. They're not lying, they're just not correct. They have it, they aren't aware of it. So like, I trust someone. You know, play safe. Don't always assume that the other person perhaps has something they can give you, whether it's HIV or other fun things that can go along with other fun things. I'll leave it at that. I think, you know, I was talking to someone who was in New York in the 80s, and a big group that had problems was the intravenous drug users, for example, which can go across race, religion, creed, all that fun good stuff. Programs like in San Francisco where they do needle exchanges, and you know, you can look at it as a horrible thing that you're giving drug users needles, but them having clean needles can prevent them spreading it from person to person, perhaps.
And thinking larger about the public health costs of not giving the needles.
Absolutely. I'm guessing, I don't know what a needle costs, but I'm pretty sure compared to a day of HIV treatment, it's probably minimal, to be honest. And then if you really look at the big picture, a lifetime of treating someone, I know these drugs, I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but I'm sure they're thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month, if not more.
Less than needles. I have two cats with diabetes. I'm familiar with the cost of needles, and thankfully they're not hugely expensive for them.
I didn't expect them to be quite expensive.
Yeah, the cats cost plenty, but
I'm sure that's up, absolutely.
Not as much. So let's talk about what, given as you said, the funding certainly isn't enough.
Absolutely.
That's coming from official sources. What's the reason, do you think, for that? That, I mean, obviously the incredible scare about Ebola, which to some of us was, not that Ebola was funny or those two people who got it, there was anything funny about that, but you're talking about a tiny situation. AIDS is not tiny.
No.
Why is it not getting that as much attention as it probably should?
I still think with where it came from as being described as maybe a gay cancer or gay disease, people still think it's someone over there that gets it. They think they're safe from getting it. Where Ebola, I think the scary part of that is anybody can get it. You could be on a plane and someone sneezes and, oh my God, you're going to die. You're probably not going to get sneezed on and get HIV. I'm sure you're not going to get sneezed on and get HIV. Again, not a doctor, not a medical thing. I'm sure maybe there's someone out there who says they got sneezed on because they're lying, but that's not how they got it.
That's not how it spreads.
That's not how it spreads.
Right.
Ebola could go all over the place, and it did scare people, and it got to the right places to get the right money in a panic setting, and people threw money at it. HIV, I don't think, is really getting the money it should be, partially because if you're a drug company making millions and millions of dollars off treating people, why would you want to cure something that maybe might have pressure to have the government say, we're going to sell this to, we're going to give this away for free, or we're going to buy this for every single person. If we do a vaccine, they want that to be low cost. I mean, I get my flu shot for free with my health insurance. I think even if I paid, it's $20. You know, I'm going to pay for that even if I have to. If the drug company could make millions of dollars off treating me for the rest of my life because I got the flu, they're probably not going to have a big impetus to really put a ton of money into making that a reality.
So what are thoughtful people doing about this obvious funding gap? What resources are available to help with the research, to help with the fight and the eradication?
You know, I think you can support groups that are maybe a nonprofit that are really looking into research to actually getting a cure or a vaccine. There's also groups that really, there's the people that already have it. If we get a vaccine and you already have HIV, for example, I'm guessing that that's not going to cure it. There's a big difference between a cure and a vaccine. So there's two routes that are really, really happening now that I'm aware of. There's looking for a cure, which all of us who don't have HIV are be great for. Also, the people that have HIV, got that backwards. So vaccine would obviously be great for people that don't have HIV at this point in time, whereas a cure would probably be great for everyone. You know, but if we can get the vaccine and then a cure, or just a vaccine, we're moving in the right direction. So sponsoring, you know, and helping people that are doing the research to get that type of cure is a great way to go. And then we have the people that are living with HIV, and that, like I said, it can be very expensive. There are people who are in disability and variety of other health issues that come from being HIV positive that really preclude them from working, or really maybe hampered their career paths, and maybe it isn't affordable to really afford the drugs and work, or things along those lines. So you really can support the organizations that are helping people with living with HIV.
Now, you work with a couple.
Yes.
Let's learn about them, please.
So my big thing has been doing the AIDS Life Cycle, which benefits the LA Gay and Lesbian Center. It's a ride from San Francisco to LA. This year, I believe about 2,500 riders. Last year, it raised, I believe, $13 million to help people living with HIV. There are things with outreach, there's things with prevention, and then a certain amount of that money does go towards research, but it's really about helping people living with HIV. Personally, I found it just an inspiring event. It started as a physical challenge. If you're looking for something to do and challenge yourself, riding a bike is a great way to get in shape. It's a lot of fun. The camaraderie on the event is amazing. And you really get to challenge yourself. Riding 545 miles in a week is not, it's not hard, but it's not easy. So that's a great way to, one, challenge yourself, improve yourself, and meet some amazing people, and raise a ton of money for a good cause.
Yeah, I take it on this ride. How many years have you done this now?
I've done it the last 7 years in a row.
And you have a team, I think, that I've heard about, because, disclosure, I've known you for a while. This is not the first time you and I are meeting, having this conversation. So what's this team thing going on here?
I run a team called Team Popular. If you've seen the musical Wicked, it's the wonderful song by Galinda, Popular. So it's just a fun thing. We wanted to use, you know, our social connections to bring more people, to bring more awareness, to raise more money, to get more people to do the ride, just to use our popularity to get more people involved and learning about what they can do to help the community as well.
And the team is made up of people from all walks of life?
We have people from all walks of life, gay, straight, male, female, from around we've had probably 15 countries represented over the last 5 years. We've raised over $1 million as our team alone in the last 5 years.
How many people, I assume it's probably not limited. This is not a race, this is a fundraiser. So.
This is a fundraiser, and for the actual ride, we've had people as old as, I think 85 is probably the oldest I've heard of, down to people that were barely 18 doing the ride. So you have a wide range of people. If you went and looked at the people coming into the Veterans Center by UCLA the last day of the ride, you wouldn't think that these are people that are riding their bike 545 miles necessarily. Some of them have, I'm sure, lost a lot of weight doing the event or getting ready for the event, but they probably started at a tough point there, I guess would be a nice way to put it. Some people it's a bigger physical challenge than others. Some of the challenge is really doing the fundraising. You have to raise a minimum of $3,000. When the top fundraiser is well over $100,000. But wherever you're coming from, it can be a challenge to push yourself. My big goal was to get my team to $1 million, which we hit last year. So that was my challenge. I knew after the first 2-3 years I could probably do the bike ride in my sleep. I'm riding my bike, I'm training, I'm staying in shape anyways. It's a lot more work to do it 7 days in a row. Try riding a bike. your butt will hurt.
Yeah.
But it's an important cause, and it's nothing compared to what the people who are living with HIV are going through and the people who've died of HIV went through.
I'm curious about this. It's not terribly relevant, but I have to ask.
Absolutely.
Do you just come down the 101 and enjoy the sights too, or is it...
It's on and off. You have to hit the 101. There's some points where we're actually on the freeway, which is wonderfully entertaining with the trucks going by. Mm-hmm. But we're in and out. We hit some small towns like King City, and we go through Bradley, where we're their biggest fundraiser for one of the schools. We have a fundraiser within a fundraiser, and we stop and have a lunch day with a fundraiser for the school to support all their music programs and other programs they have.
What time of year does this happen?
It's the first week of June, basically, give or take. We go fly up on a Friday, start riding on Sunday, and get back to LA on a Saturday.
What are the accommodations on the way down?
This is where it gets super fun. We're in a tent in porta potties for a week, so it can be it's very entertaining. But there are people who princess, I guess is the way to put it. They at their own expense pay for hotels, but keep in mind we're in the middle of nowhere, California, so the fine hotels are the Motel 6 if you're lucky. So
yeah, you may be at a Motel 4.2 by
4.2, and they're sold out, and they know we're coming, so the prices go up.
Exactly. It sounds like it would be a great PR move for them. Get in on this, and we'll give you a discount on the room, and we'll throw in an extra bunch of money to your cause.
It would be nice.
Oh,
well. They do treat us well sometimes, but they definitely know they're getting it. There's extra free cookies in the lobby or things like that. And there are people on the road. You'll meet people along the way that are out there every year. This lady called Cookie Lady cooks 5 million cookies because we're hungry and we eat. 5 million is probably a little high, but there's 2,500 people coming through and we're hungry, so we're probably taking 2 or 3 cookies. Do the math.
That's a lot of cookies.
That's a lot of cookies for someone to be cooking. And she's been out there on the side of the road because she was touched by HIV. And there's other people that we see with signs of their loved ones that they've lost, and they sit there and cheer us on along the way. Kids come out from school and cheer us along the way, which is just great. Because you get tired sometime, and you're just in the middle of a field, and someone starts cheering, and
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah.
Someone's cheering for us, because it can be 10, 11 hours on a bike. It'll wear on you.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Not to make it sound too hard, because I want to encourage people to come do the event. It's an amazing experience. It's fun. It's very doable, but it is work.
Yeah, but it's for a good cause.
Absolutely.
That's why Rotarians do what we do too.
Absolutely.
Now, tell me about the group that this event supports here in Los Angeles.
So this benefits the LA Gay and Lesbian Center here in Los Angeles, which is widely known. It's not just for the gay community. Anyone's able to go in and get treatment. They have everything from HIV to STD to mental. And while it's based on the gay community, it's not discriminatory in any way. I know plenty of people of all the straight, gay, transgender, queer, anything you want to throw in that group that's getting treatment for a variety of things there. It's a great way to get treated if you're maybe don't have health insurance or aren't able to afford it. Or even, I think a lot of people have insurance, but it's still quite unaffordable. If you have one of these high deductible plans and it's still going to be $8 or $9 grand a year out of your pocket, you're going to have a tough time paying for this medicine, and I don't think it's great for anyone for someone to not be treated, because it doesn't end with them.
It's a public health. Actually, we're going to come back to we're not going to go to the vaccine debate right now, but it's the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. No,
we won't go into that, or, to each your own, but I think even if you aren't pro-vaccine, we'll just say this, I'm sure some of you are happy that someone is getting vaccine. We'll leave it at that, but it does benefit society. You may not think it benefits your family, but it does benefit society as a whole. We'll leave it at that.
Until it does benefit your family,
okay.
and you figure it out. How long has that group been around?
Since the early 80s. So the ride's been going on, I believe, over 20 years now. It's officially, they changed names somewhere in the middle there, but it's something in the 20+ year range. There's millions. It started out as a small group. I think the first year was 300 riders. It's come a long way there. It's a very well-supported ride.
I think you might have mentioned it and I missed it. How many riders are you getting every year, not just for your team?
Yeah. My team has been somewhere usually between 30 and 50 riders a year. The actual ride is just sold out this year. It's 2,500 riders a year. And there's previously 500 to 600 support crews. So it's a moving city of over 3,000 people moving along down the coast over the week. It's just an amazing event. And we have other people that are supporting us along the road. We have people that come in and, it's a huge event when you're either leaving the Cow Palace up in San Francisco or arriving at the Veterans in LA at the end.
Yeah, I'm still distracted by the 50 million cookies, but
yes.
We'll get back to that later. We'll try to put a couple of the cookies actually on the website for people to taste. It's our new website attachment. Let's see if anybody buys that.
It was great. That was the way she thought she could give back, and it's turned into a tradition. We're very happy to have that. The city of Santa Barbara puts on an ice cream thing for us when we stop in Santa Barbara every year, which is very nice. It's a better idea probably before you get down, because you, as a hungry person, eat lots of ice cream, and then you go ride your bike another 30 miles. It's kind of like that swimming after eating. Mm-hmm. Still great. It's worth it. We do it every year, but you probably should eat a little less ice cream.
Now, what other resources can you tell us about for someone who is who is living with the disease? And may not be in an area like Los Angeles that has this organization to help?
That's one of the great things I like about the Gay and Lesbian Center is it's not just LA based and it's not just gay based. They do support other groups that maybe are in far-flung areas that are maybe a lot more isolated and would have more trouble getting the word out, or being able to fund, if you're 100 miles from a city, where do you go to get treatment? They have resources. They help connect people with where they need to be so that they're getting the treatment and the support they need to go. Because it's a tough enough thing to get it here with, oh look, I want to join a support group and I met 50 other people that are in the exact same situation as me. It's still a tough situation, but if you're feeling like you're the only person, that can be devastating.
So it's, in a sense, it's almost not only a local resource, but it's also a hub for getting people to far-flung resources around.
Absolutely.
Are there similar organizations in larger cities?
There are. There's the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. There's places in New York. Most major cities that are on the coast, I would say, have some organizations. They're probably a lot tighter and smaller in smaller markets.
Now, what about research? This organization focuses on care. Mm-hmm. What about research? What resources are available where someone might be able to help?
Absolutely. I believe there's a lot of different places that bring different things to the table. I think we're going to put some things up on the website with different organizations that do research that specialize in different ways, or maybe we can do, what does that say? Alliance? One of the great organizations that does research is the AIDS Research Alliance. So it's a great place to look. We'll put up some more information about them on their website. I haven't worked with them directly, so I don't have a ton of information on what they're doing, but I know them more from seeing their breakthroughs or things that they're doing. So you can go online and there's tons of things they're doing research. I feel like you throw ideas out there, or this has shown some help in relieving the spread of HIV in someone, or it's relieved it from a cell, but you don't really know where that's going to actually be taken to be an actual cure. So we're trying lots of different things and really working towards a cure or vaccine.
So I want to close out as we start to run out of time with a two-part question that's the same question. What message would you give to somebody who is now living with the condition? What message would you give that person if perhaps it's something new to them and they're first reaching out for what they can do?
Absolutely. I think reach out, make sure you're taking care of yourself, and make sure you're getting the resources that you need and to be fighting it for yourself and for your disease. And once you're in that position, share that story. Let people know. Don't let this be a faceless disease. and do what you can to spread the word and get people back. So I think a lot of times people, until they realize or met someone who's fighting the disease, they still think it's someone over there. They can't get it. It can't affect me. No one I know would ever have a problem with this, which isn't reality.
Now, the second part of that question then is for someone who is not quite in that second category you just described, what I mean by that is somebody who is not somehow connected to the situation, although is one step closer to, I'm not connected to the situation, but I have a heart and I want to help. Yeah, it can never happen to me, but I recognize that it happens. What do you tell us as Rotarians who may not have a direct connection? What can we do?
There's a few things you can do. I think things like sharing this video so this gets out to people. It helps fundraise, it helps bring awareness, helps get people tested. As simple as, you may not be in a position to be really at risk of this disease, but getting someone else tested may save your loved one, or may save your child, or may save someone you know, even save a coworker. The less people who are able to spread the disease, the less likely it is to continue to spread. We get to joke about Ebola. If there's no one here with Ebola, the odds of getting it probably go down dramatically. The more people that have it, probably the odds go up that someone on that plane sneezing is going to give it to you. So the same thing could be boiled down to this in a similar way. Help yourself, help other people, and do some good.
DavidRae,
DavidRae,
financial planner par excellence. I don't speak French, and an activist with information that we can work with. Thank you again for your time today, and let's see what we can do to help people.
Thanks for having me.